We're going to talk about today is goals and the role that they have in our business and in our marketing, because we talk about goals sometimes as sort of an ethereal thing that doesn't really exist or something that feels bigger than it is. But in reality, goals are just kind of a compass. So let's talk about the role of goals in your business and in your marketing. Goals are often treated as something that comes up quarterly or even yearly. And we kind of put a lot of thought into them, but we don't always follow through. And sometimes in our goal setting, we treat them more as aspirational, like a wish list, instead of something that we're working towards. And one of the things that happens if we're not actively working towards our goals, then all of the things that happen in our life and in our business can kind of rush in and fill in all of the gaps that we thought we would have to work on these things that are really important to us. But the fact is, even when we're juggling things, even when we're really busy doing all of the things, the goals that we set for ourselves, they still matter and they are worth coming back to again and again. Why do goals matter? I'm so glad you asked. I see them like a compass. Basically, they can help remind us of what we really want to accomplish. And when we do get off path, when we do get distracted, when something comes up and we get pulled away from the things that we really want to work on, those goals can help us refocus because past us already decided what was important. So we can refocus and reprioritize what's happening in our business without having to start over every single time. Because there are absolutely times when things that are outside of our business, personal life, world stuff, distractions, emergencies in our own business, all of those things can pull us off the path that we were working towards. And having these goals, having them act as a compass can get us back on the right path. The next question you might be asking is, what goals should you set in your business? It's going to depend on your business. It's going to depend on you and your personality and your business and where you want it to go. But I think there are a couple of questions that we can ask that can help us determine what we want to prioritize and what we want to focus on, both in the short term and in the long term. And this first question is kind of big. So grab a notepad, take some time, maybe pause this and make some notes. But if every single thing that you wanted in your business happened, if every single thing for the next 5 years worked exactly as you wanted it to work, with no bumps, no hiccups, you got to that big idea in your head that you wanted, what does that look like? That is a really good place to start. And also dream big. You're not going to get judged on this. It's okay to dream big. It's better to dream big and to really, really think about what you want in your business. And we can aim for that. If you start really low, we can aim for that too. But I don't think there's anything wrong, especially in these kind of planning stages, to dream really big and to really dig into what you really want and what you really hope for your business without reservation, without holding back, without fear of judgment. Just brain dump it, get it all out, and really think about what you would want in your business if every single thing worked exactly how you wanted it to work for the next 5 years. Where do you picture yourself? What do you picture your lifestyle to be? What do you picture your business doing? What do you picture your work hours to be? All of those things, like, let's just get them out of your brain onto a piece of paper, because then we can start planning. I also want to say this is a big question. So depending on how you like to work, maybe you're a journal person and you want to use this as a journal prompt and spend some time with it. Maybe you're somebody who just kind of jots down notes throughout the day as they come to you. However you work, that's fine. If you need to come back to this, that's okay too. But I really want you to think big and really, without any holes barred, what do you want? What do you really want? This question is also a really good time to really ponder and pull apart what you want for your business versus what you think you should want for your business. When you hear a lot of people online telling you how businesses should be run, or the thing that you should want, or maybe you have friends and family telling you what they think your business should be, really think about what you in your heart really want for your business and what you hope to see it do. Because at the end of the day, it's your business, you're responsible for it. So it has to be your vision and your dream. And you can absolutely get ideas from other people. But if you're feeling pulled, or you're feeling that you can only have a business if it looks a certain way, we're just going to set that aside. Once you have a good idea, whether that is a fully written essay, pages of journal prompts, a bunch of Post-it notes, some random notes in your phone app, whatever that is, once you have that all figured out and all out of your brain, the next thing to think about is, what are the steps that have to happen between now and then in order for you to reach those goals? And depending on what your goal is, those steps might be really big, but that's okay, because we're going to break it down. As an example, if it's a financial goal, which a lot of us have, if you have to sell things, how many do you need to sell in a year in order for you to meet your goals? If it is an impact goal, how are you going to measure that impact? What does that look like? If it is a building your reputation, maybe you want to be a speaker, how do you get from where you are now to where you want to go? And you're not going to have all the answers, and that's okay. This is just a place to start because once we start understanding that the goals that we have concrete steps, we can start working on those steps and achieving them over time, which is, in essence, a lot of little mini goals to get to our big goal. And then take those first goals, those how many you need to sell in a year, or how you're going to do different things to reach your goals, and break them down into even smaller parts. Because we can achieve these smaller goals and then you get to have success and you build on that success. The other thing that happens when we are doing this and we are breaking these big steps into tinier and tinier steps is we can start to see common connections and we can start to see where it makes the most sense for us to focus our attention. Don't forget to also take into account your personality, how much time you actually have to work on your business, and any other things that you need to be aware of. Because if you are burning yourself out in order to reach your goal before you even start, you're not going to get very far. So it's really important to find the balance between how you work on your goals and the steps that you need to take, and also the other life things that happen. Because as business owners, we're not just business owners. We are also people who have a life outside of our work, and burning out is no fun for anybody. So now that you've taken some time and you've broken down some of those goals, then we can look at your marketing, and then we can use marketing in all of its different avenues and all of its different platforms and the way that it integrates with each other. How do we take the goals that you want to achieve and apply them to your marketing? Again, if it's a financial goal, then we're looking at sales. We are looking at outreach. We are looking at leads. We are looking at visibility. We are looking maybe at email marketing and SEO and social media and all of these things. And all of that ties back to using marketing to support your goals. If your goal is more reputation focused or visibility focused, then we're going to talk about how do you get in front of new people? How do you get in front of new audiences? Is that podcasting? Is that PR? Is that being a guest somewhere? There's a lot of options. And when you understand that these are your goals and this is where you want to go, then we can work backwards to get you there. I told you to dream big, and I mean it. And as we are breaking these goals down into smaller and smaller goals, it's important to be realistic in what can actually be achieved. Because if you set goals that are too hard for you to reach and you get frustrated right from the start, you're going to give up. And that's not going to help you reach your goal in the long term. It's going to frustrate you and burn you out. And I don't want that for you. So when we're thinking about what kind of goals to set, at least at the beginning, really focus on achievable goals because you can build on that success. And as you create more goals, as you reach your goals, you're going to feel better about it. And what's really cool is that you start to have a little bit of a swagger because you know that you've set that goal and you met that goal. And so now you're ready for the next one. But if you immediately shut yourself down before we even start, it's going to be hard. You might be thinking, okay, but if I set a goal now and I change my mind, then what? That's totally fine. You can just reevaluate it because again, when we're trying to figure out where we want to go in our business in the long term, this is designed to be a compass. This is designed to help you get back on track when you get lost. Before I wrap up, I want to point out that this is always a learning process. Everything that we do in marketing is an experiment. Our businesses are fantastic at teaching us to be creative and think on our feet and pivot and be nimble and try things in a new way. That is something that we as business owners learn over and over again. So as you are setting your goals, as you are working towards the things that you want in your business, just know that reevaluating, reconsidering things is always an option. And you can always come back and rebuild in a different direction if the one that you're going in isn't working. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I will talk to you next time. That's all I have for you today. If you have a big goal, I would love to hear what it is. Drop it in the comments. Let me know what you're working on. I would love to hear from you.